This Social Security measure gives at least some protection
for anybody to hand this out. We're asking for a chance to have the people who will receive the benefit to earn their way. The same principle established under the Social Security system in this nation.
It is no longer acceptable to discuss women's rights as separate from human rights.
I know we can come together to face down the challenges of our own time.
Hi, welcome back to the Democrats. I'm David Campbell. I'm a candidate and state representative from Ward 6 here in Nashua. And this show interviews all the candidates who are running on the Democratic side in the city of Nashua. Today, we're talking to the candidates from Ward 1. I want to introduce my co-host.
I'm Representative Cindy Rosenwald from Ward 3, also a candidate for re-election in Ward 3. And today, David, we're pretty excited because we have with us Angie Kopka, who is running for a seat in Ward 1. Angie is a real pioneer in the business community and also a pioneer for women in business because you're in the real estate business, right? I think maybe you're retired now, but you've been a long-term realtor in Nashua. How did you get started in that?
It's a long story, but an interesting one, I think. When I was replaced by the person whose job I had taken during the war years, I had no job. So it was up to me to find a job because I was not one to stay home.
This is right after the end of the war, right?
Yes, right after the end of the war, and they were coming home, and so I went out and thought to myself, and that's when Sanders came in. And I put two and two together and decided that they'd be looking for houses.
Good for you.
I had never thought of it before. And so I went to Concord and I found out I'd have to have a license, but it was not a license, it was a registration fee. And so that was enough for me. So then I went looking for a place to open an office. And I ended up at 342 Main, which is South End, as you know.
Right.
And right at that point, it was still the main street of Nashua. And if people were coming into Massachusetts, then that would be the road that they would take. And of course, the building that I had selected was a little white building, had 4 offices in it, and one side, it was all brick on that side. And then as I got started, I'm ahead of myself, but that's okay. The thing is that I went to see where and how much I would pay for an office because there were no real estate offices per se.
Right.
In the whole city.
They all came from their home.
Right, they worked out of their houses.
And they usually had insurance with the, any real estate that they did. Kern Devereaux was one of them. And the other one, I can't remember, but he used to be an appraiser.
So Angie, you've been selling real estate for over 50 years then, or you sold real estate for 50 years. You must have sold an awful lot of houses to an awful lot of people in Nashua. Tell us about some of the people still remember you from selling houses to them?
It's amazing. It really is amazing. Because when I moved, at my last move, I went into the Coliseum Avenue, and they had just built a new part of the building. So my daughter thought it was a good place for me to be because we're across from the shopping center. We're down by the store to eat food. And so anyways, I moved in. And I'm not going to go into details of that and so on. But I will tell you that we always had something going on.
A lot of activities down there.
But people down there would recognize you. They'd recognize you or remembered you from selling a house to them?
Well, I'm going to bring it down to one.
Sure.
A time that we had a big thing going, and I sat down at a table, and pretty soon somebody else sat down, and the first thing I knew, my table was full, and one woman looked at me and she said, "Are you Angie Kopka?" And I said, "Yes, I am." "Well," she said, "I want you to know I bought my house from you." I said, "Oh, how nice." And so we had a conversation about that. But then as the table filled up, she told everybody, "This is Angie Kopka." Remember, she was in the real estate business. So it spread. And everyone sat at that table, said, "Yes, it's Angie Kopka. We bought our house from her."
That's amazing.
It was amazing because I didn't think at that point that anybody would remember that I was Angie Kopka in the real estate business and that they knew me.
If you get a vote for every house you sold, you probably win just on that.
Yes.
Exactly right.
It was wonderful, though. And then as you don't know that there's an elevator in there, every time I stepped in the elevator, somebody looked at me and say, "You're Angie."
That's amazing.
It is amazing to me because I can't believe that I sold that many houses, but you'd be surprised.
Well, you must have been good at it, and now your daughter is running the company. Is that
Well,
right?
I'll tell you, I was very earnest. I was very interested in the people because Sanders started to come in.
Mm-hmm.
So that meant there was more business coming in. And there were more people that wanted to know about real estate. You must remember that, and maybe you wouldn't, but real estate was only for the upper class. All the others would have maybe a little apartment.
So you actually saw the post-World War II
The
boom,
baby boom.
which saw, the American dream come true for millions, and you saw that part right here.
Well-
and being a pioneer for not only for women owning their own business, but
for families.
for families and real estate.
Yes.
Right.
Tell us a little bit before we go, because our time's getting short. Tell us a little bit about what changes you've seen in the New Hampshire House, in the legislature, in the time you've been there. You've been there, what, four terms?
4 terms.
Yeah. How have things changed from when you first got there to how they were in this, the most recent term you were there?
Well, I do feel I was on the Commerce Committee, which was my line. And Republicans was the first person that was the man that took care of all of the...
No, they had the majority.
Yeah, the majority the first time,
When you
right?
were first
Right.
elected.
Yeah. And so it was very interesting because you had all kinds of business bills that were coming in. And,
Right.
And that grew. That was quite an interesting program. And
So you enjoyed serving on Commerce?
I did.
Yeah.
So when you're reelected in November, are you going to ask to go back on the Commerce Committee?
I would like to.
Yeah.
I would like to, if I get in there, but if
With all those real estate sales
well,
in your background?
it's amazing. I just can't get over it. I still haven't got that in my head that they all remembered me.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
That is.
Well, unfortunately, we've run out of time, Angie, but thank you for coming down here.
And we appreciate you being here. And I have to say that not only are you one of the state's women of the House, but you're also the best dresser up there. You always match your lipstick to your blouse and your shirt and
That's
everything.
right.
You're
And
amazing.
it's always
Thank you.
Thank you for
If I
coming in.
could add something to that, because I want to talk just one thing on women, because women were my first people that wanted to sell real estate, and they would come and visit me and so forth. And that's how I built that business, was the women, and then a few men would come in with the women, so it built.
So you brought women into the business as well.
Yes.
That's great. We do have to go, Angie, but thanks again.
And we'll see you in Concord.
I'm
Thank
David
you.
Campbell.
And I'm Cindy Rosenwald.
And thank you very much for joining the Democrats.
Thank you.